Hey, welcome everybody to today's episode. Welcome to the Parkway Powerful Ideas podcast. We're so glad that you're joining us. We have a special guest today. Before we jump into that, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us over these last few months during COVID. COVID has been really the reason why we've kind of jumped in to podcasting, really creating content so that we can continue to interact with our clients and even new people who may not know about Parkway, know about the vendors and the different equipment that we use for our projects. And so thank you for joining us on this journey. We would love for you to subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We have some plans for doing some giveaways in the future. So if you want to be a part of those giveaways, you are going to want to subscribe. It is going to be a thing in the future, in the near future. But also subscribe if you listen to us on audio, whether it be on Spotify or on Apple or Google Play. Please subscribe so that we could continue to stay connected with y'all. And we would love for you to like, comment, even if you disagree with us. That is what we're here for. We want to learn from each other. We want to create a community of people. And so feel free to just interact with us because we just love that part of it. We love interacting with new people, with our current clients, and beyond. So yeah, Michael, Steven, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. So we were planning on doing this in the studio today with me and Michael. But Michael has a bit of a cold this week. And
I do have a little cold, so I'm a little muffled today.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. If you need to take a break, blow your nose, we totally understand. But yeah, I mean, COVID cases are rising. And so we're just trying to be on the safe side. And just protect ourselves as best as possible and follow, what the powers that be, the rules that they set in place in order for us to stay safe. So, or else, I'd be right next to you, man, just in the flesh, just enjoying
Yeah,
your
I know.
presence. But this is
It's
just
much
as
better in
good.
person.
This is just as good though. But
Yes.
today we have a special
We make
guest.
it happen.
Yeah, we do. We always make it happen, no matter what. Today we have Stephen Ellison from The Light Source. Stephen, thank you for joining us today. This has been a little bit of a long time coming. I know we played, just messaging back and forth and trying to get this scheduled. But we are so excited to have you on today. So welcome to the podcast. We would love for you to just kind of inform us, inform our audience about a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into the game, how you found yourself where you are today, and a little bit of your background. We would love to hear that.
All right. Well, thank you, Christian and Michael. I'm glad to be here to have fun with you. I got into lighting because I'm a lighting designer by desire back in middle school. It goes way back. I was the nerd who got invited to, set up the slide projectors and overhead. That was back in the day. But we got to play on the
Did
stage.
you sync projectors?
But I ended up getting to play with the lighting and then moved on in 9th and 10th grades. We were in a district. This was the baby boom back then. And not did we have 1,000 people in our school, we had over 1,000 people in my class.
Oh, wow.
So they had 2 buildings and I got to play in the theaters the whole time. And it was a blast. Went from being the nerd with the slide projectors to being the nerd with the lighting. I played with that and then went to college. Ended up not knowing what I wanted to do. Could have been a doctor, decided not to. And found North Carolina School of the Arts. I was in Greensboro at a college, and down the road was North Carolina School of the Arts. So I ended up going there and getting a full degree in lighting design and technical direction. Went from having 1,200 people in my graduating class to we graduated 13 in 1979.
Oh, wow.
It was a much smaller class at School of the Arts, but it was a lot of fun. And then I've been in the industry. Went back to Philadelphia, where I'm from originally, went to work for a rental company, became the rental shop manager, Left there, went up to New York City, worked for Production Arts Lighting,
Yeah, you did.
which has become part of PRG, which you might have heard of. Went to work for them for 2 years in the city, and was running their follow spots and fog machines, and got involved with, I knew more about the Roscoe fog machines than Roscoe did in terms of repairing them. So they hired me.
Oh, nice.
Went on to spend 8.5 years in San Diego building and designing fog machines for Roscoe.
Oh, wow.
After that, I went back to North Carolina because my wife said, you can either go to Philadelphia or North Carolina. You're not staying in San Diego. Go look for a job out here. It was too far away from the family. Ended up back in the rental business. Went to work for a company in Raleigh, North Carolina that was doing productions, rentals, and system design. So I was doing system design during the day, and on weekends we'd take out touring the rig and do one-off. So
Okay.
the concert. So you'd go in at 8 a.m. in the morning, set up all the gear, focus the lights, do the concert, strike all the gear, put it back in the truck, and get back to the shop about 3 a.m.
And then do it all again.
Can't do that again anymore.
Touring.
Well, no, because we were doing Saturday, it was a Saturday concert.
Oh, sure.
So, some days, I mean,
Yeah.
we did the Raleigh, North Carolina, the state fair in North Carolina, but that was a 10-day event. So there you got to set up and every day just go in and refocus for the band.
Right.
You have a band every single night. So I was getting to that side of the world, but I was also designing systems. And so I began to specialize in the church market. So I got involved in that, took a detour to East Chapel Hill High School for 3.5 years as their technical director.
Okay.
Building sets, designing, teaching kids how to use all the stuff, but also consulting on the side on systems for churches. So eventually I just got into the systems engineering side of the business. But also, I don't know if you know of ETCP, the Entertainment Technician Certification Program.
Okay.
You can get that for rigging, and you can get that for an entertainment electrician. So I am certified as a theater rigger and an entertainment technician, electrician.
Nice.
Oh, right on.
So I've got that background. And the company I was working with in Kansas, we decided to part ways. And the light source had a need for a technical salesman. And so I end up having good lighting design background and also rigging. Because segueing into what the light source is, the light source has all the hardware for rigging.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they started. They were building hardware for rigging, but the owner was a video lighting director. So he was really into lighting as something he loved to do.
Yeah.
And so that sort of led right into doing LED lights.
Okay.
Which is where we now have a line of, you can see behind me that white fixture. Funny working with a camera. That white fixture is one of our LED house lights.
Stage right.
Yeah, stage right. So we have a whole range of systems products as well as the hardware products, which has sort of kept us alive through this COVID mess, because the hardware is not selling as good. You don't have people going out doing productions.
Right.
Which is where a lot of our work is, or the theater business is not working very well. So what's been saving us is the fact that construction industry has been an essential trade. And so we fill that niche.
Okay.
The company's been able to stay going. It's like you guys, you're still able to keep going because the construction world is still going.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And much of it for us, what it's been is churches, lots of churches. I mean, there definitely are companies that are still going, but as far as the entertainment industry goes, as you know, Stephen, is that it's kind of shut down. So projects that we had with some large venues, they just kind of are put on hold, and who knows when they're going to come back and have like residual income coming in order for them to kind of continue to grow and expand what they already have going, equipment wise. right? And so, but awesome. Well, thanks for that little bit of history. Well, can you tell us a little bit about Light Source? So, Light Source, where are you guys located? How long has the company been around? Tell us a little bit about the history of the company.
The company is located now in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're basically on the border between North Carolina and South Carolina.
Okay.
Because the owners, it's a husband and wife team, Eric and Joyce, and they started in Fort Mill, South Carolina, which is like across the border from, I don't know if you ever heard of Carowinds, but that's the amusement park right on the border between the two states.
Okay, cool.
We're really close. They found a place to buy and bought they're working out of the garage. Because originally, I mean, where is it? The first product.
Here we go, baby. This is what I'm talking about. We got products to show.
So this is what started them.
Oh, really?
This is a C-clamp.
No kidding.
The story is, as I've been told, they had an order of 400 par cans for a system they were designing. And the manufacturer, one that's no longer in business, said, well, if you can supply the C-clamp, we'll take X amount of dollars off the order. So this, I don't know if you know the difference, but this is a extrusion of aluminum. If you look at this shape, we end up with 20-foot lengths of this shape that we just cut into pieces.
Oh, wow.
And then we route the edges.
I got you. Yeah.
You drill the hole, you tap it, you drill the hole down here, tap it. We tumble it so it's nice, and we stamp it so it's got the load rating on it and all the information on it. And then it's, sent out to be anodized or powder coated.
Nice.
But this is what started them off. They started making these. He was consulting on systems and having a company that designed systems, and slowly got into doing this into a barn that they had on their property.
That's cool.
You get bigger and bigger. You need.
Love it.
They bought the space over here in Charlotte, and now I want to say there's 7 CNC machines, along with 4 CNC lathes, a massive laser thing. They'll take big sheets of material and laser etch them, a punch press, a brake press, a powder coating system. We have a full electronics room where a full surface mount line. So we take a circuit board and put it in one end, and out comes a circuit board full of parts already, put in together. So they've jumped from one thing of making just these to a full-size manufacturing facility. And you can see behind me a lot of range of hardware. The hardware side is filled with stuff. The biggest difference between us and most other companies is that we are load rating and stamping. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can sort of see it. I get the angle right.
Oh, yeah.
There's markings on here that tell you exactly what it is. And we have a whole range of stuff. And even if you look at the website or look at the catalog, it doesn't even cover stuff. You just have to call and ask, hey, can you do this? And a lot of times it's something we've already done, but we don't have it we just haven't put it on the website.
Sure. It's not like something that is continually needed by customers over and over again. It's more custom.
Yeah. I mean, one of the
I think we've had you make quite a few custom brackets for us already, I believe.
Yeah.
And I do believe we use all your lighting bar pipe. But I love that story of just a grassroots organization that starts in the barn and works its way up. I mean, that's what every American, dreams to be.
Yeah, that's like the Apple story, man. It's like Steve Jobs and Wozniak in the garage, just making it happen, and you find yourself here today.
Love it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, there it's a barn, but
yeah,
more space on the outside. Not in California where you can only fit a small garage. South Carolina, you can get a whole barn.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool.
It's been like 34 years that they've been doing this.
34 years. That's awesome.
You know?
Very, very cool. And how long have you been with the company, Steven?
Going on a little more than 3 years.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah.
So-
Well, that's awesome. Well, this is my first time meeting you. So thanks for just sharing a little bit of your background and for joining us today. So my background, I've only been with Parkway for about a year now. Michael, you've been with Parkway for about 6 years. And yeah, man, we're just doing projects.
Just celebrated 5.
Oh, 5 years. My bad. I'm
Just
sorry.
celebrated 5.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to speak for you there. But it's been a great 5
Yeah,
years.
Don't
Yeah.
do that.
Don't do it again. No, that's great. That's awesome. But yeah, okay. Well, so the reason why we really brought the light source in, we brought you, Steven, on, is because Michael has been doing projects with you guys. And so, Michael, why don't you give us a little bit of background on how we kind of got connected with the light source and a couple of projects that we've worked on with them that have really went well, and why we continue to work with them.
Yeah, first of all, we kind of stepped into, oddly enough, we were an electrical company that was outsourcing theatrical lighting. And I kind of came into Parkway and I'm like thinking, that doesn't fit for me, you know. How can we expand our theatrical lighting and theatrical house lighting as well and bring that to Parkway, because we got a whole team of electricians. It's like I can walk right down the road, right down the hallway, and get the project managers that I need for any job that I could conceive of. So I kind of went down that path of like, okay, well, who does the best in house lighting? So, you know, obviously I did a ton of research, and we actually did one install with another brand, and it went well. You know, I'm not going to say that went poorly or anything, but I was looking for more of a relationship based company that I can call and that I can have a discussion with, that will provide me with a good product, good service, good warranty. And Light Source was obviously a clear choice for me. So I pursued Parkway getting a dealership, and I think that month we did a project, and then we did another
cool.
one, and so now it's our go-to for you know, RGB house lighting. We've done a number of churches now. Some of them are just, you know, 12 pendants. Some of them were 40. You know, a couple of them, yeah, are in between, somewhere around there. So, yeah, it's been a great journey. Love Light Source. Um, I can vouch for the quality, but I'll let Steven kind of dial you in on all the features and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been great. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting that out there, Michael. Yeah, so we've only heard great things within our department. Michael's always bragging on you guys, and so we look forward to working with you guys continuing into the future. Steven, would you mind just giving us a rundown of maybe the products that you guys offer, and we can start from there, and then kind of expand and kind of see where we go.
Yeah, one thing I would say for working with electricians, it's not typical for an electrical contractor to really have the full ability with the low voltage wiring and understanding DMX.
Right. Correct.
The electrical contractor typically can put the lights up. They have no problem with that at all. They're real good at that. They can get the power to it, and they can run the data wire to it, but they're not familiar with the setup of DMX, which is why a lot of times.
And if I could jump.
Yeah.
Could I jump in on that comment?
Yeah.
That's why we kind of have married our communication side with our AV techs. We handle all the low voltage, and then we partner with the electrical company or electrical side of things to do exactly what you said. Hang it, do the conduit if we need, do the wiring, get the power to it, and they let us program and run DMX cable to it.
There you go. Yeah. Because a lot of times as a systems integrator, what I would do is say, okay, let's sell it to the electrical contractor through us, and then we will be responsible for making sure they all come on and are controllable, because we're putting in the control system for the whole room. Because I love to take the house lights on. I mean, I'm greedy. I want, as a lighting designer, I don't want just stage. I want the whole room.
Right.
And with a church, it becomes important because that's where, with using the full color lights, you get the immersive part of it. I can take not the
Right.
mood that's on the stage, the platform stage. My wife hates me. She's like, no, it's a platform. It's not a stage. This isn't theater. Anyway, it's church. But you want to take that mood and bring it out into the congregation, and so the RGB helps that. But you've got a lighting console that's talking DMX, that's complex to program. And the electricians, I mean, good as they are, and I love them, don't know how to they have no clue. And they know how to program the architectural control system.
Right.
That, so I used to design with ETC all the time, but the house lights, they're DMX. That's the best way to do it, because you want a good theatrical dimming curve. If you take a 0 to 10 system, they blink at some point.
Right.
And you get 8 lights.
Yes, they do.
You don't get one. I can't control this light, and then I can control that light and the next one over independently. So a good 0 to 10 dimming system is important. I mean, a good 0 down to 0 dimming system. One that.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I loved about Light Source. The first install that we did with them, I mean, the dimming curve on these fixtures are just the top notch. I mean, they're the best.
Yeah, and somehow the engineer, the guy doing the computer code writing, managed to fit that into one channel, 8-bit. A lot of other manufacturers take 2 channels of DMX, and if you got 40 lights, that means you're taking up 80 slots of the 512
right
available.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
That's a fun thing. So the other thing about our lights is the acousticians like them. The acoustician's the guy who cares about the noise in the room.
Yep.
We don't use fans. We use convection cooling. So you've got to get the heat away, but that means there's no noise, because there's already enough noise. Projectors make noise. The moving lights, the LED moving heads, they have fans. Other fixtures have fans. So you got to, at least we don't contribute to that noise.
And the hazer.
And the hazer. Well, that shouldn't make any noise. That just makes haze. We like that, though.
Yeah.
So if we're going to talk about what's different about our lights, one, we have a 10-year warranty on every part of the light. So you've got
awesome.
So like looking at this is an LED array. Okay, so you got the LEDs on a circuit board. You then have LED fixtures are not really complex. If you take a house light, you've got an LED array. You then are going to have a driver card that's working with DC and sending the output and controlling the dimming curve and things like that. And if it's multicolor, you're sending this signal to each different color independently. And then you're going to have a power supply, something that's going to take the voltage in, which is anywhere from 100 to 277 for us. Ours is just doesn't care what voltage in it takes and sends out a DC voltage. So that's it. You got 3 components.
Wow. Okay.
Not talking about the metal part of it, which is the convection cooling, keeping it cool. So if you look at our card, look at the backside, it's copper. People say, well, LEDs aren't hot, because if you stand in front of a 575 watt tungsten halogen lamp, at 2 feet, you put your hand in that beam, it gets real hot.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you don't get that out of LEDs. But if you take a look at your LED itself, and these are little tiny LEDs, they get hot at the junction point. And if they get too hot, they die.
Okay.
So you've got to keep them cool. So that's why we use a copper board that sucks the heat away.
I see.
So we're keeping them that way. The other part of an LED that you can do is you're supplying it voltage, right? Some driver voltage. Well, if you overdrive it, You give it too much, you want to get it brighter. If you give it more voltage, you get brighter. It's like if you give more light, more voltage to a tungsten halogen lamp, it's brighter. But that's, again, for a very short time. So we try and run our LEDs cool and under what the manufacturer's rating is, which gets us the long life.
Okay. So what is the life so you guys guarantee 10 years out of it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's awesome.
And the metric for measuring that is called L70. Have you heard of the L70?
No.
Okay. L70 is the rating that is extrapolated, because we can't run them long enough, or nobody's run them that long. But L70 means that it's 70% of the output.
Okay.
So LEDs don't die. You take a tungsten halogen lamp, you break the filament, it's dead.
Right.
No light. LEDs don't do that. They slowly fade away.
Got it.
So what they want to know is, well, at 70%, we figure that's low enough that we need to replace them. So how many hours does it take to get to 70% of the rating? So you start out at, this is the lumens at 100%. At 70%, it's this. And so there's methods set down by IES that tell you how to calculate, and we are over 50,000 hours.
Oh, nice.
We're getting closer to the 100,000 hour mark.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
continuous operation, which means you put them into a church.
Whoa. You 50,000 continuous.
Yeah, that's the rating.
Right. Okay.
So most people, you're never going to reach that.
No.
The church is
No,
gonna
you'll
go
never get
further.
there.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's the LED array. And that's coupled to a lot of heat sink material. So you look at this guy, all these fins.
Yeah.
This is
Oh, yeah.
the length of this from here to here. There's a central core of aluminum. We start with a solid round stock and machine that, and then we bond the fins to that. So this becomes the whole heat sink.
Okay.
So that's a lot of metal.
Yeah.
On this fixture back here, this whole section is the heat sink.
Okay.
Again, we've got a core in the middle
Right.
that it's bonded to. Now, bring this over here, maybe. The next part of the fixture, like I said, you got a power supply. Okay? That's generic, made by
Yep.
one of the best manufacturers, and they already provide the warranty. The other part
Okay.
is going to be your driver card. Okay? So this is all the electronics that go into making the fixture understand the incoming DMX, translating it to what the LEDs need to see that they're getting their proper information and that dimming curve. So let's ask this trick question for you. Do you have a, well, look, I see in the background, Christian, you're in a room with a screen.
I am.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that turned off?
It's turned off.
Really?
Yeah.
You're sure about that? How did you turn it off?
With a remote.
So it's really off.
Well, it's in the red light's on, which means it's off.
Ah, there's a light on. So is it truly off, or is it simply not putting anything out?
Exactly. Yes. It is not putting anything out right now. It is connected to a power source.
Right. Well, connected to a power source, I had a lady say, oh, no, I flipped the switch on the power strip. She truly turned it off. It's like my grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandmother, she insisted that we unplug the TV from the wall every night when we visit. She did that. She didn't leave it plugged in. It's like a guy I was working with when I was working for Roscoe Laboratories. I was in New York, he was in San Diego, and we were supposed to be shipping him pages of data, because we were getting some of the stuff built in Tijuana.
Okay.
So we're sending it by fax. This is mid-'80s. He turned the fax machine off at night. It's like, no, I want you to I'm going to put these in the fax machine at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And so when you get in, you'll have them ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your TV's not turned off, actually. It's in sleep mode.
Sure.
So the electronics are still running.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, I just recently got rid of a TV that was from 2004. Still fully functional. It's just we had it extra. We
Was it a
didn't need it
Sony
anymore.
Trinitron?
No, it was a flat screen.
Was it a?
It was flat.
Oh,
You know, it was only that wide. It was, you know, fairly wide, fairly heavy,
yeah.
but it was still,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a
Right.
42 inch.
It was heavy though. I'm sure it was
Oh, yeah.
heavy. Oh
But
yeah.
it was still
Yeah.
fully functional. It
Sure.
still worked. So the electronics in that kind of device, it's the same thing we use. I mentioned this because our driver card is the same way.
I see.
I mean, if I'm going to expect the LEDs to last 10 years, I got to have my driver card running 10 years.
Yeah.
So you need electronics that are
Mhm.
designed to last that long. So you've got components which are designed to last 10 years or more. I mean, that's why I'm saying, because you turn it off, well, the LEDs aren't outputting. But if you turn it all the way off, now you're entering that church sanctuary and you're going to go in and there's going to be an architectural control station on the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going
Right.
to push a button and you're going to want the lights to come on. Well, if you have turned them all the way off, the sequence of what happens when you push that button is the button tells the relay to turn the power on to the LED fixtures. At the same time, it tells the DMX driver to send a signal out to send those lights to whatever value, like 80%.
Okay.
Well, when you
Right.
send the relay on, now you've got to send power to the LED fixtures. And what happens? They don't come on immediately because they are
No,
basically
you're two-stepping it.
there's a little computer in there
Mm.
because it's DMX. DMX stands for digital multiplexing. So that's a digital language which requires a central processing unit to interpret what's happening.
Okay.
So therefore, it goes through boot up. Now, it's not as bad as your computer. Computers take, 30 seconds or more to boot up and get ready to actually do something. Since we're just talking about a little bit of stuff to do inside, the CPU doesn't take that long, but it's still a couple seconds.
Yeah.
I've measured it. Now, some places don't mind. They don't mind that you hit the button, you walk 3 steps in the room before you get light, or you have to wait. But our
That kind of
fixtures are
bothers me, though.
Yeah, our fixtures are designed that you can
It does. Yeah.
They're designed to stay on all the time. That's why I talk about the TV, because the
That's
TV
cool.
is on. It's on all the time.
So you'll get instant results like, hey, I need to go into this room to vacuum. Boom. It's going to be on when you turn it on.
Yep. It
Yeah.
comes right
Right.
on. It's right there. And so you're just setting the DMX value. You look like you're going to say something, Michael. No?
No.
No,
So
no, I'm
that's
good.
really the next part of talking about our lights is the fact that Michael said you did 12 pendants or you did 40 pendants. Well, if you get a room that's got a rake to it, so we got the stage platform, and then the seating goes up at an angle. Well, right in front of the seating, it might go flat for a bit, 20, 30 rows, and then have a angle, or it might go up, get a little height, and then have a balcony, which means you've got 10, 15 rows underneath the balcony. So you've got one set of lights that need to shoot 25 feet.
Mm-hmm.
The under balcony,
Mhm.
maybe it's 9 feet.
Mm-hmm.
The upper balcony can be 15 feet.
Yeah.
I've just described 3 different
Right.
heights. So I've got to have a fixture that can handle the 25-foot throw, another one that can be recessed because it's got to fit into that area.
Right.
I got to have another one for above the balcony, but that's going to be shorter. So we offer in the white light only, let's talk before we talk color, we offer 100, 120, 150 in that black fixture I picked up. So I got
Okay.
3 different, and I've got 9 different lens options.
Coverage angle, right?
Yeah, the lens options give
Was
us
that-
coverage.
Yeah.
The wattage gives us output. Then the white fixture is an 80 watt, and it's got 9 different lens options.
Okay.
We also have a 40 watt, 20 watt. and any of them can be recessed.
Oh, nice.
I can take this guy. This is a recessed fixture.
Oh yeah.
And we use a
That's a sweet fixture.
we use a Fresnel lens. This is a full HL, so this could be any of the bigger wattages. But in terms of lensing, we do it with a Fresnel lens. I don't know if you know how long Fresnel lenses have been around a long time. They're just a great, a Fresnel fixture for the theater is a great fixture. Fresnel lens just makes a nice homogenized beam, gives you some control of the beam angle. They go back to a guy named Augustin Fresnel in France who developed the lens. So the reason is because of shipping. It was all about shipping.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
Yes. Well,
Explain
where's
that.
the
Oh,
lighthouse? Where's
explain
the
that.
lighthouse?
And
Where's the lighthouse?
what
On
year
the
were you
coast.
talking about here?
17 something.
Right.
You have
gonna
lighthouses there on the
say,
coast, right? Well, he was in Paris, which is in the middle of the country. So they're making the lens in Paris and they're having to ship it to the coast.
Okay.
And we're talking lenses that are 3 feet tall.
Right. Right.
Huge thing.
Yeah.
Well, if you got this big lens with the big belly, that's a lot of weight.
Oh, yeah.
Super
so if
heavy.
I can cut it and then cut in, go down and cut it again, that's a Fresnel lens. Concentric rings. So you've got some focusing and you've got a thin lens.
Okay.
That's where shipping comes
And
in.
it's lighter.
It's lighter, but it's doing the same kind of, it's
brilliant.
The same focusing. It is. Yeah, it was one of these beautiful things, has been developed in theater instruments and lots of other, diverse instruments.
Well,
So
that's
anyway,
great.
we
Yeah.
offer a
So that
full
you were
range.
talking
Very
about the
cool.
white lens or the white light, right? Primarily.
Right.
Okay.
So we offer a full range. So whatever the size of the room is, we can put a light in where you need it.
Okay.
And the best way to do that, I'll talk about in a bit, but you're asking about color. So we also offer red, green, blue, and white as colors. So we offer a full color. We offer it at 120 watt in the big 6-inch. We offer it in the 80 watt, the 40 watt, and the 20 watt. So we can do it all
Nice.
in color. One difference in ours, and this one might be easier to look at, is if you take a look at this, you can see there are different LEDs on there, right? Obviously,
Yes.
some are colored. Well,
Yes.
This is a 120 watt LED array, but it's not just 120 watts of 4 colors, which would mean 30, 30, 30, 30. We are 120 watts of every color.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you turn on just red, you're going to get a full 120 watts of red. So we get a lot of saturated power. Now, we never let you go beyond the rated wattage. So if you want to do red and blue, you're only going to get 60 watts red and 60 watts blue.
Of each. Okay. I see.
But you'll get a full 120 watts.
Of the mix.
Of the mix.
Got it.
So
right.
It's kind of cool. And we have white LEDs on here as well. So if you want just the white, you're getting a full 120 watts.
Nice.
And I think that's what makes you guys really unique too.
Yeah. We're not mixing to white. We're not trying to say red, green, blue mixed to white, because they really don't. That's another whole discussion.
And when you turn on those colors, it is very saturated. It's beautiful light output.
Yeah.
At all colors.
And when we say white, white's one of those things. It's like, well, what color is white? Because
that's true.
Warm white to cool white, and they're in between.
There's a big difference. Yeah.
We don't tell you what that color temperature is. You get to pick.
Okay.
But if you have a full color fixture, then if you pick like a 3000 Kelvin white LED, by adding either red, blue, or some green, you can actually change the color temperature of the white. It becomes it's a pastel. You're adding just little bits of the other colors to boost the color temperature, fill it in either in the red range or the blue range.
The blue range, right? Okay, that's awesome. Are you guys do you guys tend to just do like live venues, or are you also really involved in doing like broadcast situations as well? Because I'm just curious, because I've been hearing or been seeing a lot that like a lot of studios, they're all going a lot bluer than they used to in times past. And so I just wanted to kind of just pick your brain on that real quick. This is just kind of something that's happening in my mind in real time. But
Well,
yeah, what's your experience on that?
yeah, they're going, when you say blue, they're going to a higher color temperature.
Right.
And it's a sort of thing if you're in a live church and everybody's doing live streaming. So they're only having to deal with what's on the platform. But if you go back to when they've got a full congregation, you don't want your house lights to be a different color temperature than the stage, because when your camera pans, it's going to look funny.
Exactly.
But studio work, right now we are in development of some studio fixtures. In fact, what's lighting me up here in this booth that you can't see the fixtures are studio fixtures.
Okay, nice.
So we're going to develop that, because obviously the owner, being a video lighting director, should really get into that.
Yeah.
We'll come out with what will be a soft light and a Fresnel. But it's all in terms of, because once you pick a color temperature, all you have to do is tell the camera what that color temperature is, and it will think that's
Right.
white.
Right.
It will then make everything look the correct color temperature of white.
Exactly. Exactly. Very cool.
So one thing we talked about is, how does Michael get involved with us on a project? You say he's got a new project coming up or a retrofit, and they want, we're going to need to put in the house lights. The biggest thing, and we offer this as a free service, is a photometric report. So you send us the room, either the beautiful CAD files or old PDFs that you've scanned in, and we'll take into CAD, and we can do, using a program, 3-dimensionally create the room, put the fixtures at the height you want, and then put in the right number of fixtures based on the foot candle reading you want at 3 feet off the ground.
Okay.
And so we can do that report and show you, here, you're going to achieve this, and we're going to get this nice even coverage. And then we send you the report, and that tells you how many fixtures you need to put in.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And that's great for design build, man. That is so effective. Because when they can actually visualize things versus just, it's gonna be lit, it'll be good. When it's less theoretical and more visual, I think it's more compelling.
Yeah. As a lighting designer for systems integration, I was doing that for the stage work as well. You take the room, you 3D it, you got to figure out where to put your light position. So you're doing that in CAD all the time.
Well, that's awesome. I love that you guys do that.
So let me tell you about another product we have. This one's really cool. So a lighting pipe, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hang our lights off of this pipe.
Oh, yeah.
Standard way to hang it. It's 1.5 pipe, standard pipe size for hanging lights. Well, when I first got into business, you'd have a pipe, you'd have a connector strip because you were connecting to dimmers, and you had another pipe. No data involved at all. We didn't have data back then.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually you started having data, but you've got this connector strip connected back to dimmers. Well, now LEDs don't need dimmers. LEDs just need power.
Right.
You're limited to how many fixtures you can put on a circuit, but still you don't need a lot. So what if we took this pipe and put plates in it with power and data?
Yeah.
Okay, so every time you need to hang a light, you've got a power and a data. You can still hang the light
nice
from
and
this
clean.
bar.
Exactly.
So now I don't have 2 pipes. I've just got 1 pipe and a connector strip all built into one batten.
I love it.
So
is that a product that you guys actually
it's fantastic.
Put together and sell?
Yeah. Oh, we've been selling miles of it by now. It's
wow.
been around for a couple years.
Yeah.
Okay.
We put in a couple of them, Christian.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. You put in, instead of the electric position where you would have two pipes and a set of, because the last job I did 4 years ago, we had two pipes. I had the electrical contractor put a quad box above on the top pipe. I'd hang my light. I'd have to run up, and you'd have to daisy chain and interconnect lights. And this just makes it that you hang the light, you plug it in, you got power, you got data, short cords. I need to move the light every 16 inches. I've got
Boom.
another.
I love it. Oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah.
If you get to doing studios, the TV studios world, they do pipe grids, right? So that every 4 feet you got a grid.
Yeah.
You know, that's where we put in our
Mm,
mega grid line.
yeah.
We got all the hardware to make your pipe grid. Well, now you put in mega battens, and now going one direction is the mega battens, going the other direction is regular pipe, and it becomes a really nice thing. And if you need help with that, we have all the CAD, or I'll lay it out for you.
Okay, nice.
We offer that service. That
Yeah,
I can
very
do the
good.
CAD work to give you a drawing that shows you how to put together a pipe grid with everything you need in it. So we offer those services of helping you understand how to use the product and how to design with it.
Very, very cool. Okay, well,
Awesome.
so there's a new project, and you just broke it down for us. So we would reach out to you for our customers, tell you about exactly what they're wanting, and then you'll come back to us with exactly what they're going to need.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we easily do that all the time. You know,
I was gonna say I got a photometric document here if we want to show that.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Let me see if I can get you to actually share it. Let's go. Nope, not there. I think I have to make you the host in order for you to share it.
probably.
Yep. I'm going to make you the host quick, Michael. Change host. Boom. Why don't you go ahead and try to share that now?
All right. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Oh, this is the photometric. Yeah, Dialux. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this was a project that we did with you guys. So I think we did 16 pendants and 2 minis in the balcony here.
Yep.
Yeah, 16 of the RGBWs and 1 of the mini pendants with a wider coverage on the top. This room turned out really beautiful. Let me get down to the color.
That's cool.
So that was kind of our coverage.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a coverage map. If you go down just a little bit, you'll see that green represents 40 foot candles. The blue is down to 20
Yeah, right
around
here.
the edges.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the front, we got more stage lighting there, so
Yeah, so
Right,
you didn't
which
need
that
is
to
kind of
kind of,
picks up that area.
Yeah,
right.
it's typical that we wouldn't be lighting that area because you're going to be covering that with the stage lights.
Right. So that's something that, and there's a foot candle count on all the floor plan, right?
Yep.
Oh, so that's the full floor plan right there.
Well, yeah, that's instead of
Yeah,
the
so this-
graphical, the color representation, this is a numerical representation.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. So
Nice. So it's very detailed, very organized, so the customer knows what to expect when they, during the project and even after the project is done. Like, we know what we're getting ourselves into here. We've kind of seen it. They've explained it to us. So there's really no guesswork at that point, right? Because you've kind of done all the legwork on the front end, and then it's just about executing.
Yeah, and I've actually,
exactly.
before I
Yeah.
got to this company, I was doing all that work myself, and I actually compared before and after and looked at foot candles. I was like, yeah, they're spot on.
Nice.
The other fun thing is you can say, well, somebody says to you, well, we know about this other manufacturer. Well, give me that manufacturer. They're going to be producing, it's called an IES file for the fixture,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll lay it in and show you what it's going to look like.
Wow.
And we can say, well, yes,
So you'll do a comparison.
yeah. Well, it took 16 of our fixtures. It took 20 of theirs.
Wow, that's cool.
Because they had to add more fixtures to reach the same foot candle value kind of thing. It just depends on who you're talking
Right.
about.
Right. Comparing apples to apples, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. All right, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, well, can you get it? I mean, you kind of went into detail about your RGBW pendants, but why don't you tell us a little bit about like, I think you went into this a little bit, but just the technology and the dimming quality, and also the features that you offer with your fixtures, which we haven't really dove into. We talked a lot about the technology behind the fixtures themselves, but talk a little bit about how well your fixtures play with just everything that's on the market. You know, no matter what we have as our lighting console, whether we're on hardware or software, like, and how everything's going to play together well. Can you just talk a little bit about how you guys approach that?
Well, I can tell you're obviously not somebody from the theater world. Nothing against that.
We're audio guys, Stephen.
I know.
Yeah, we are audio guys first.
Basically, it all breaks down to the DMX.
Okay.
Because we don't use another control system, we are married to DMX, which basically means it's a software-based control system.
Okay.
Even though you might have a lighting console that's a piece of hardware, it's software. Almost every manufacturer now of a good lighting console, unless they're the really inexpensive ones, they have offline, they have versions which you can run on your PC or Mac.
Yep.
So you're always going to have that. And so that's all based in the DMX world. So our fixtures are designed around working with DMX. So, because the owner comes from that kind of world, a video lighting director, where you've got to have good control of your lights. You wanted good control. That's why the dimming curve is really the most important thing for our fixtures, is that you can go down to nothing and it's very smooth. So we play nice. Any console that can send DMX out is not going to have any trouble with us. Now, we do things a little differently than most people do.
That's what we want to hear.
We offer a 4-channel control system: intensity, red, green, blue. Notice I didn't mention white. So you don't have what people would think is they want to do a 5-control system. They want to have intensity, red, green, blue, white, and talk to the white independently. But what we do is we say intensity. If you just bring up the intensity channel, that is the white channel. As soon as I add any of the other colors, it flips to a real intensity channel, which means it handles the group. So if I bring in the red to 25%, now I've got the white LEDs at 75% and the red at 25%, but the intensity channel will dim it they'll take that pink and dim it as a pink.
Okay.
So they're dimming both channels at the same time proportionally. So anytime.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
Sorry.
anytime you've got the red, green, blue. So if we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever 2, 3, and 4 are identical, that's as if you were mixing to white. Because technically, supposedly, if you take red, green, and blue LEDs and turn them on all, you'll get a white output. There is a problem with that if you look at the spectrum, the red is tight, the green is tight, and the blue is tight. So there's holes, there's things in the middle that you just can't fill in.
Got it.
Back in the early days of LEDs, they're saying, we can make 16 million colors. Well, then why is the yellow rubber ducky not yellow? And literally, it was proven that I had a good friend, Tony Hansen, who would do articles and teach that, he would take a yellow rubber ducky and put it under there and turn on all 3 colors, and it still wasn't yellow because there was no yellow output from the LEDs. So it's like I can't make it reflect something that's not there.
Sure.
So that's where a white
Sure.
LED will make that happen.
Got it.
So that's why we don't control, we control, the white is part of it, but as long as you're trying to make white from the three, so if they're at 0, 255, anywhere in between, all three of them are equal, then the intensity channel is just the white LEDs anyway.
Well, and what I was getting at earlier, thanks for explaining that for us, Stephen. What I was getting at earlier is that there are a lot of facilities that still to this day aren't using LED or DMX for that matter, right? So let's say they wanted to kind of upgrade, kind of replace what they currently have. For some places that might be easier than others. And that's why I wanted you to kind of dive into a little bit, because what would it look like for a really old building to have to kind of change some of their infrastructure in order to have your product in their facility?
Well, you got basically two choices. You're either going to have to run the wires that are the data wires,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to have to put in a control. You're going to have to put in a control system no matter what. That's the first step. You're going to have to jump to an architectural control system. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be a simple set of control stations that you can program with a console. Like Michael can bring in a guy, he's got a console on his laptop, he plugs into the system, he programs the buttons on the station, and he unplugs and walks away. So the owner can't rechange it unless they bring Michael's guy back in to program it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, at that point,
Which
you
we
gotta run
do.
wires.
Yeah.
Now, I did a church up in Massachusetts where they had beams. So you had a beam, you had an open space, and then another beam. Open space and another beam.
Sure.
And in the middle between the beams was a light. And a nice little pattern, worked beautifully. Power was right there. They wanted to go to LEDs. It made perfect sense. But it was going to look ugly because I was going to have to run the wire. Because your roof is like this. It's like, here's the beam on the inside, here's the roof on the outside, and you got about that much space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys seen that before, Michael?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sandwich
Yeah.
roof.
We have a plethora of A-frame churches around here.
A lot.
So
So
adapting.
you can't
a
put
lot.
new wire in that space.
No,
You're
you
gonna
can't.
have to run wire mold around the place to get the data wires around. It was going to look ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, what you have to do, and you see the fixture behind me on the other side of my head,
Yes.
that black thing sticking up,
Yes.
that's a wireless antenna.
Okay.
So you can
Ah.
wireless DMX. That church in Massachusetts, it took the it was only like 14, 16 lights. Took
Okay.
the electrician about a day, about half a day, 3/4 of a day to hang the new fixtures. Because he took the old one down, he put the new one up, plugged in, same power. We didn't change anything about where the fixture hung or the power going to the fixture. It was that easy. They were
That's cool.
wireless DMX, so therefore I came in, put in the control, upgraded the control system, put in a wireless transmitter, and boom,
Mhm.
you're done.
So does the wireless transmitter for
Yeah.
your fixtures, like, is it going to be inside the lighting fixture itself, or is it like an add-on afterwards? Is there
So the
two
wireless
models?
transmitter goes in the booth.
Okay.
The wireless receiver is at the fixture.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. So the receiver's
Right.
at the fixture, but is it like put inside of it, or is it like on the outside? What does that look like?
Well, for our fixture, I mean, you got the antenna.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing external. We work with a company called Lumen Radio that makes a little card
Mm-hmm.
that we can, our driver cards are designed so that they'll accept a wireless input.
Okay.
So we take their little card,
See,
mount
that's-
it inside
yeah.
the fixture, and run just a wire up to the antenna. And so
Okay,
you
I
have the
see.
antenna. And then the transmitter just sits
Yeah,
in
that's
the booth and it
fantastic.
just spits the signal out into the ether.
Right.
I love that.
I tend
So a
to
lot of
recommend-
these, yeah.
I tend to recommend
I was
wire.
gonna say a lot of these, yeah.
A lot of these
I
Go
think
ahead.
there's
I
a
think
delay
there's a
between you and I.
delay. Yeah, I think there's a delay. But go ahead, Michael.
A lot of these A-frame churches have tongue and groove decking, and our installers have gotten pretty brilliant about hiding that wire right in the crack of one of those,
Oh,
and color matching. So we've done that a number of times now, but wireless is definitely intriguing to me. I didn't actually know you guys offered that. So
yeah. I mean, I recommend wired as much as you can because in the it's in the range of what else is out there. Yes, Lumen Radio does a great job of making sure that it's a good, strong signal and it's hopping around to not. But you look at all the stuff out there that's on that same band, um, you know, and it's more and more people coming in with their phones and their iPads, and and you got enough happening with the wireless mics, and so
Yep.
the ether is being filled with stuff. So if you cannot, but for that church in Massachusetts, it was the only option. So it's an option that happens when you can, when you need it.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's great. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, Michael, any questions you have for Steven?
I'd like to know a little bit more about like your drop-in 2x2 fixtures. If we want to, maybe outfit a boardroom or something like that. Um, how would that play in?
Um, well, it depends on whether you're going to replace the tile. We have a metal pan that would fit right into a 2x2 slot,
Okay.
or um, you can take, just mount it above the tile and cut a hole. If you look at this
Right.
side, so you can see this section here's got these ears,
Yeah.
and so it will allow it
Yep.
to drop below. So you mount the piece on top, the electrical box, then you can reach up and wire into, or in the 40 watt and the 80 watt, you can actually bring the whole box down below the ceiling and leave
Oh, I
the
see.
frame. So the frame can stay up there. So you get the frame installed.
Mm-hmm.
You got a frame that gets installed, and then you can drop the fixture down, you can drop the electrical down, wire it all up, put it back up in place, and pop the fixture in. It covers up the trim. So it's got a trim area so you can get the hole the right size. We can do
Right.
slopes. If you get a slope ceiling, you just tell us what that is and we can adapt. Then the
Oh,
piece
okay.
is not a nice
Cool.
bell, it's a offset bell.
Okay, nice.
Right.
Boardroom, we don't really have, it's not easy to make it unless you do the slope on a flat ceiling to get the angle
Yeah.
to light somebody's face up, but it could work beautifully for a downlight. And at that point, you go with
Yeah,
either
that's
the
kind of
40
what
or
I
the
was
20.
thinking.
Yeah, you can go with the 40 watt or the 20 watt.
Okay.
80 watt would be really bright.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
blinding.
Yes, it would be.
It's in my eyes. Yeah, kind of how I'm feeling right now, actually. I have like all these days. So I replaced to daylight
Right.
in my basement just because it's so dark. And but sometimes it just feels like a little too much. Like you're like,
Well,
you
at
know.
least you're lit for Zoom better than some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, lighting's everything with video, man. See, people always think, oh, I got to get the best camera, right? Oh, I got to get the best camera, Which
No.
camera? It's like, hey, get a good camera for sure, but the camera's only as good as the environment that you put it in. And
Oh
so
yeah,
the lighting is crucial.
critical.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah, I
very
was
so.
working for a company and I had light boardrooms. Had this great little MR16 fixture that would tilt down and rotate, and I'd light the boardroom for the video conferencing. Not the down lights. I could care less about them. I just was lighting up the people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's super critical when working with video. And I think a lot of people are learning that. A lot of non-tech people are learning that when they go, in this post-COVID kind of environment where everybody's on video, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, how can we look better? Because it's kind of dim and it's kind of pixelated because, well, it's because you don't have enough lighting. And so, I've done that with a number of projects this year, even in the simplest forms, just like this, just buying a couple of those little ring lights that you can
Yeah.
kind of put behind, and they'll just shine a little bit of light on you. And all of a sudden, it takes your video from being kind of dull to all of a sudden you feel really present. There's some contrast with the background, and it just works.
Yeah, light the background and do backlighting.
Yeah,
Because you
absolutely.
want three-dimensionality
Yes.
because you're working in a two-dimensional image.
Hmm.
And so video lighting, I've
Yep.
taught classes on video lighting where you want that over-the-shoulder lighting. It tells you that there's
The halo.
three-dimensionality. You can see the wrinkles in my shirt.
Hmm.
That tells you it's a
Yeah.
three-dimensional shirt.
Yeah, on mine, you clearly don't. So. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, yeah, any other
No,
points,
it's great.
Stephen, that you want to bring up? Anything that we haven't touched base on?
I would say that there was a class I just recorded for CFX 2020. It's a trade show happening right now through December 6th on the metrics of how to evaluate LED fixtures. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
talk directly about my fixtures. I talk about the other, because like you're going to say, well, let's talk about the CRI, and I'm going to tell you LEDs are not rated very well by CRI.
Hmm.
CRI is color rendering index.
Mm,
And the color rendering index
yeah.
started back in the 1930s when they didn't have LEDs. So the spectrum is completely different. And if you look at a spectrum for a tungsten halogen lamp, it has almost no blue and a lot of red. And an LED has doesn't have a lot of red. So when you say, well, it's got to be a CRI of 100, that's kind of expensive for an LED fixture. And you really want to start
Yeah,
looking
it
at
is.
you want to look at the TM30 rating, which has been developed lately and became an ANSI standard in 2018.
Okay, that's really, really important to know, actually, when you're trying to.
That's good
Yeah,
information.
that is really good
Is that
information.
a, is
So
that
if you
a,
go to I
is,
was going to say, if you go to CFX 2020 or Church Facilities Expo, you can sign up there and find my recording.
Okay, cool. Yeah, is there a place where people can find you, whether it be on social media, the Light Source website, anything like
Source.
that, to kind of check out your products?
Thelightsource.com, just the whole word, THELIGHTSOURCE. Got to have the.
Got to have the in
There are
there.
companies
The.
that are
Yes.
just light source.
The
We
light
are
source?
the light source.
Yeah.
But you can find us there. Call up, ask for me. I'll be glad to talk, obviously,
Awesome.
about anything.
Awesome. Michael, also,
Very good.
there are a couple places where, for our clients, if you're one of our customers and you're interested in, maybe you're doing a design build, a new building, or you're kind of revamping the space that you're currently in, and you're considering RGBW lighting for your house lights. So not just that there's an experience happening apart from the audience or the congregants, but you want to immerse them into an experience that includes everybody. And I would say that the best example that I've experienced on this is going to be communion, right? To where normally you'll look on stage and it'll be all lit, maybe red, right, for the blood of Christ or something like that. But when you're able to do the whole room red, all of a sudden that changes I would feel like, oh man, this is really immersive, and it just takes me to a different place in my mind and in my heart. And so, Michael, you have done a few of these, and so we have a few locations where we can take our customers to kind of check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, it's not, there's so many creative options that you can do with it too. Think about December, Christmas Eve service, give the blue cast to the room. Maybe you got a midnight mass. Maybe it's Easter sunrise service. Give a yellow tint to the room. There's.
Oh, yes, emotions. We lost Michael?
I think we lost him. He's frozen in
Yeah.
time. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Frozen.
He's back.
Yeah,
You're back.
He,
You're back.
he took my example of Christmas
Oh.
Eve because that golden candlelight with the beautiful warm blue glow. I
Right.
talked to I explained to the guy, it's like, I can get that 80-year-old woman who says she never wants to see color in the church, and she won't notice it happen if you do it over a slow period. Bring that blue in,
Mhm.
and she'll suddenly, the emotion will feel. Another good example is the red. Being a lighting designer, doing plays, doing musicals, one church was doing that Christ, the passion, not the passion play, but the, life of Christ kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they'd have that scene where you've got the whole choir on one level, and up above you've got Herod, and he's denouncing. They say, crucify him, crucify him. They're chanting it. I would bring in red light and just slowly add red to the whole scene, and it just made everybody, get that anger going.
Oh, yeah.
So it's that immersiveness of what you can do with the color.
And I think we're moving in like that direction everywhere. I remember when I saw Coldplay, when was it, in 2012-ish, when they were on their Milo Xyloto tour. And it was the first time this was done that I know of. They actually paid a company to come up with the technology just for their tour, where they had the bracelets that had the lights on them.
Oh,
And they would all be different colors, but then it would be in tempo with the music. And so it felt like the concert took place throughout the whole venue. And it was incredible. Like, you just felt like that much closer to the experience versus, because in an arena, you can be so many 100 feet away. And so it's kind of like, I need binoculars to really feel a part of this. But when it's immersive like that, again, with what you guys provide with this RGBW house lighting, it can really just do something that otherwise couldn't be done, is what I'm getting at.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah.
As a designer, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. Is Michael frozen again? I think we lost him.
He hasn't moved.
I want to capture this moment right now. This is hilarious. Yeah, we lost him. Well, yeah. Well, Stephen, thanks for all the information. It really is bring what we try to do on the podcast is, because we have people from all levels, from small churches to large churches. We have corporate clients, and we just like to bridge the gap, especially for the decision makers, because a lot of times they may not understand the technology or what DMX is or what I need in order to be able to take this room that's 50 years old and upgrade it into the 2000s, so to speak, or the 2010s or the 2020s. And so just your vast knowledge is so helpful. And so I just want to thank you for just being a part of the podcast today. And I'm sure I'm going to be in touch soon for a project soon. And if there's anything else you want to add, I would love to just give you the space for it. But if not, thank you so much for just being a part of the podcast. And I look forward to working with you heading into the future.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun. I just love to talk about the subject, and that's my job here, is basically be the technical guy that can help people solve problems.
Absolutely.
So
Awesome,
if you got
Stephen.
questions, you can reach me at thelightsource.com.
Awesome.
SRE at thelightsource.com. Call down to the office. They'll be glad to put you in touch with me.
Sounds good. Well, Stephen, thanks so much for being on the podcast today. We really appreciate your time. And we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.